Welcome back to the Masters of Recon podcast, your top automotive refinishing podcast with your hosts, Corey Kleinfeld
and Ryan Brewer. Enjoy the show, guys.
Welcome back to the Masters of Recon podcast. Today on the podcast, we have Izac Anthony out of Lubbock, Texas. He has been fixing cars all the way back since 2019 in the body shop world. And then 2020 enters in the PDR, and then 2022 moves into RestorFX. So he's not a patient guy. Welcome to the show, Izac.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. It's a huge honor, man. I love y'all's podcast. I love what y'all do, and I'm excited to be here. So excited to see the conversations that we have.
Yeah, fantastic. I don't know how we met. I think you called me for opening up a RestorFX center. I think is the first time we talked. Is that right?
Well, the first time we ever talked was I was trying to get advice on how to walk into a dealership and talk to managers, man. Everywhere I went, I get kind of shoved out the door, and like
for dents or for restore.
For dents. I was
cool.
Yeah, Lubbock's kind of a hell prominent area, or it has been over the past couple years. So I didn't know this when getting into PDR, but whenever I got into PDR and I kind of got off my first hailstorm and came back home, started looking around, there's pretty much a PDR shop everywhere you look, So
that's interesting.
Yeah, so going into dealerships was very difficult. So didn't have very much success going into body shops to try and pick up their PDR work, or going into dealerships to pick up their PDR work. So, and I knew that you were doing, you were coaching people on the business side of things. And, that's whenever I really that's whenever I first kind of made contact with you is whenever I was having trouble landing accounts, essentially in the very beginning of my business.
I'm curious.
Yeah, go ahead. You say the same thing. Go ahead.
Same question. Did you get a lot of those accounts, or did you kind of change gears because it was so difficult, or what?
Man, I did. I did end up getting several accounts over the first year. It was only really 2 or 3 really good accounts that I had that would really keep me busy throughout the week. I really hopped off my first hailstorm and was able to make enough money to where I really didn't necessarily need to really focus on making the maximum amount of money. I was mainly really trying to build my brand and build something that I could, look at as mine, and it's stable, and more of like a brick and mortar shop was kind of my main goal going into it. So, I was hitting up every dealership in town, and I was able to land 2 or 3 accounts, and that was pretty much it, man.
How
did I end up landing?
Sorry, Ryan. Yeah. I'll slow down.
No, it's the same question. It's like, what was the biggest factor in you getting these accounts? After getting coaching and just talking about what to do whenever you walk into a dealership.
Yeah. So the main thing I really bet on, man, and other than kind of just trying to be competitive with my pricing, was I really banged on, people looked at me as being young and looked at me as being, not as experienced as everybody else. And that was really discouraging to me in the very beginning, because I just felt like I wasn't going to get the respect I needed in the time frame that I wanted. I felt like I felt like I was going to have to do a lot more. I was going to have to do my time, really have to, grind and pick up a lot more experience before I was going to be able to be taken seriously in any type of industry. So, but I decided to use my age and, my likeliness as, maybe a benefactor. I went in, instead of, looking at my age as something that was a deterrent for dealerships and kind of just turned people off to using me in general, I used it as like more of a factor of like, yes, I'm young, but I have the work ethic that these older guys don't have. I have the tenacity and grind that a lot of these guys aren't willing to do. If you need me to come on a Saturday or Saturday afternoon, anytime you need me, rain, shine, snow, whatever, you name it, I'll be here. I'm going to work. I'm going to be able to outwork anybody in this industry, just in order for me to achieve the things that I want to achieve, and I was very fortunate to meet a kind of a younger used car sales manager that was willing to give me a shot. He gave me a hell car for my first job, and It was beat, man. It was beat up, and
It was that Texas hail, I'm sure.
Yeah. He's like, here, do this one.
Yeah,
All
and
the
I-
other
$100.
guys turned it down.
I mean,
yeah.
and I did the Hellcore for like pennies. Like it was nothing.
Yeah,
I think I did it
like
for like
$500.
yeah, if even, man, if even. I just
Wow.
wanted the account so bad. Ended up doing the account, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we'll start using you." And from him, he put in good word to another dealership because they were a chain under the Cavender Auto Group, and Cavender has Audi, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Cadillac, and Lexus. And since I was able to pick up Audi, I've been able to slowly bleed and like work my way into all these other dealerships. So luckily, Roberto, man, I'll never forget him. I mean, we kind of they've gone through several management changes, and he's gone now.
Mhm.
But yeah, I really appreciate that guy because he was willing to take a bet, take a chance on somebody so young. So I really appreciate it.
So when we do these podcasts, I like to point out things that make people more successful than others. So number one is that I never actually coached Izac. I like to help people. Ryan likes to help people. Pick another, quote, you can call them quote unquote leaders of the industry.
Yeah.
They like helping people. That's why we do it. That's why we do this podcast. That's why I coach people. That's why all that stuff. You ask me questions and I answer the questions. Like you DM me very specific questions that had an answer and wanted an opinion. You didn't want to talk to me for an hour. You didn't ask me you didn't ask me to do anything for you or anything. You just asked me questions. I'm like, here's what I would do. So I never actually coached you for one, but that's one of those qualities that I think people overlook is that don't be afraid to like ask people a question, like Ryan Brewer or myself, or pick someone you follow in the industry or look up to in the industry, and don't be afraid to ask the question. The worst thing that happens, they don't answer it. But a lot of times, like we like to help people, and I want to see you win. New PDR guy, whatever. Here's what I would do. So that's the first thing I would say is that one, fucking pay attention to what's going on. Listen to the podcasts. Go to MTE. Do all those things. Put yourself in a position to have those conversations with people. Okay, you did that. I'm assuming I wasn't the only person you asked the question to.
Yeah,
I'm almost certain about that.
I got a couple of guys that it's almost foolish to have an industry that is willing to help everybody. I mean, the PDR industry is such a good industry to be in, man. I mean, everybody is willing to help and give advice and everything else where it's needed. It'd be foolish of me to try and to make mistake upon mistake whenever I have people that have already made the mistakes and have learned from the mistakes and can help me not make those mistakes again. So that's the reason why it'd be foolish not to.
Yep.
That's what's cool about you being so young. I think that it shows the progression on the technology that you have at your fingertips. That's we didn't have that.
So true.
Right? I mean, this dude started in the PDR industry in 2018, and 4 years later, 5 years later, this guy owns his own business. He's doing hailstorms. He's got a RestorFX. It's good to see the things that we're doing work, and it's not only us; it's everybody else. You got Shane Jacks, Paul Corden. You have Mike Toledo. You have all these guys that have this stuff that we didn't have this when we first started the business, and it's great.
And none of that shit matters unless you're paying attention. That's what I'm saying. Right. Like unless you understand the price guide, unless you listen to the podcast and watch the lives, and like, dude, it's a mishmash of ways to do stuff, or be in the Facebook groups. It's pretty simple. But like you said, that's actually such a good point, using technology to your advantage like that. You don't even have to ask the questions. If you're just paying attention to everything that's going on, you're going to learn a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Yeah, with the forums and everything else that are out there, man, I mean, there's no reason that you can't, excel in this industry at all. Mm-hmm. I hear horror stories about, back in the 90s and, 80s where like guys were doing PDR, but they got like, shower curtains hiding them, they don't want people to see. It's like, no, you can't see what I'm doing, this and that. And like that style technician is a dying breed at this point because they have nobody. I mean, they're in their 60s, they're in their 70s, they don't have anybody below them that they're able to give their business to because they've been so selfish with the knowledge. I really do feel like, Shane Jacks, Jim Mitchell, Mike Toledo, all these guys that are really pushing the industry forward are doing the industry justice because it's going to be so much better than where it could possibly ever be. It's going to be. I'm super excited for the future of it. I really am.
100%. Second thing I wanted to point out is I sold a coaching program. It's still available. It's called the PDR Launchpad. One of the things, and I sell it on the Den Trainer website if anybody wants to check it out. It's basically like a lot of things Izac did to win in his, I would say, life or win in business, and like how to get your business started. A couple of things he asked me. He listened to the podcast. He did all that stuff. If you don't want to spend years trying to figure all that out, you can buy the program on Den Trainer. Anyways, one of the things I tell in that program is that everybody that's starting out, they can't go in and compete on the skill level. Like you couldn't, Izac, go in there and compete with the dude hiding behind the curtain, right? No. Probably. And be like, I'm a better tech. Maybe you were, but you still didn't have the confidence either. And you probably weren't it because PDR is such an acquired skill. Right. But you didn't even focus on that at all. You figured out the quality that you had that the other dude doesn't have. And it was age, hustle, grind, all that stuff. So don't focus on the stuff you don't have. None of it matters. Right. It doesn't matter if you're not as good. It doesn't matter if that guy has 20 years of experience and you have 20 days of experience. Yeah. You don't talk about that shit. You talk about the stuff that you have. And that's what you did. And I just want to point that out because when I hear that, it's like I literally coached dozens and dozens of just PDR technicians on almost this exact same topic. Like, don't go into dealerships and talk about the shit that you don't have. Just talk about the stuff you have. Exactly that is like, if you're competing, if you go to Lafayette and compete against Ryan Brewer at the dealerships, the one way that you could beat him, don't do it. If you did it, come to Sacramento, California, whatever. The only way that you could beat me is you say you have time, because I don't have time. I'll be here every day. I'll be here on a Saturday. I'm not coming on a Saturday. My kids play soccer. I'm established. All that stuff. And so I just wanted to point out those two things that was the biggest thing when I got into, because I was in the same boat where I had my dealerships were locked up with these old school cats. And I first 5 dealerships I went to, they were like, they threw my business card in the garbage. They had nothing to do with me. So I said, look, I went into all the other dealerships and I said, look, man, I don't want to be the first phone call. I just want to be the second. Right. These guys are so comfortable. They're not answering the phones half the time because they're so busy. So you're going to get a phone call. And as long as you make yourself available, that'll show that work ethic that Izac's talking about that he did. And, I'm so proud of you as far as being young, because I feel like you've done more in 4 years than people have done in their entire careers of owning a business. Is awesome. 100%. So let's talk about that. So basically you started body work basically right out of high school. Essentially. Yeah. Did you go to a technical school or? No. He's smiling.
Yeah, so my childhood best friend, his dad owned a body shop in a town called Loveland, 30 minutes west of where I'm at right now. And so growing up, I knew that he always had a body shop over there. I knew that I kind of liked cars, and I was kind of at a stuck spot in my life. I knew that I had an opportunity to go play very small college football and go get a business degree and like try and figure it out that way. Or I could kind of try and, see what happens on going into a body shop and seeing if I can create, a career that way, kind of just taking the blue collar out of things. So, I called up my friend's dad and asked him if I would be able to get a job. And he was skeptical about taking me because I didn't have any experience. And since he was basically a father to me, he was like, yeah, man, I'll hire you, I'll hire you at minimum wage of $7.25. Come over here and sweep floors and go pick up parts and just, just basically be a shop hand for us, prepping parts and prepping panels and everything else like that. That's what you're going to do. And I was like, let's do it, man. So I kind of went that route with everything.
So did you not think colors would work for you or what? I'm just curious. Because most people, nowadays, seems like a high majority of people always feel like they have to go to college.
Yeah, so I have getting right out of so my senior year in high school was, all throughout high school it was all about sports for me. That was a big driving factor for me even showing up the day to for school day to day,
Sure.
Yeah, was looking forward to, going to athletics and, being with the guys and doing everything like that. But it kind of, everything kind of hit me really quickly whenever my senior season of football was over. I ended up dislocating my arm senior night of my senior year, and wasn't able to really play through playoffs and everything else. Wasn't able to do powerlifting, and it was kind of just over for me for sports wise. And I remember sitting there thinking, okay, you still have this opportunity to go play college ball, but what's after that? I kind of got a rude awakening whenever football was over in high school, and I had to go to school to learn to excel in education and everything like that. And I didn't like it. It wasn't something for me. I really realized that I was mainly going to school to go to sports and not really go to learn. So that's what really drove trying to find another avenue for me. I have two older sisters that both went to college, super successful people, and they kind of paved the way of going to college. And that was kind of the I don't want to say stigma, but that was the blueprint for life. You go to college,
That
you
is for like American kids, dude.
Yeah,
like it's almost required, not quite, but and then a large majority and then obviously because it's ridiculously expensive because it's backed by government spending. Like the cost is ridiculous. Most parents can't afford it or don't want to pay for it, and then so you come out. You actually would have probably graduated this year from college. I would say August of 2023. And you'd be probably $60,000 or $70,000 in debt.
Yeah, with tons of debt.
No business.
I definitely
dislocated shoulders.
Yeah, I wouldn't be in the spot where I am today. No, for sure. Yeah, sure. So,
yeah. So I just want to draw that line because I think it's fascinating to me. Like I'm a proponent of always learning. Maybe college is the route for that. If you need to go that route if you need to go college to get something, nursing, doctor, something specific. But like I feel like time is better spent. Lawyers, sure. Yeah. Time is better spent building a business and learning in the real world and listening to podcasts and books and whatever that you've done over the last 3 years. So as we go through the rest of the timeline, as you figure out where you've ended up at this 4 years, this was like 4 years of college. And you said your sisters are super successful, but we've talked a little bit, and I know that you're doing just fine where you are after 4 years of non-college.
Yeah, no, for sure. I wouldn't say I'm in too bad of a spot. So I'm really blessed and fortunate.
You got a 4.0 and the
fucking building a business.
Building a business, right? And like the school of life, which is awesome.
I appreciate that.
So you're sleeping floors, and then at some point you do body work, or you just go to PDR, or how did that?
Yeah, so the kind of the way it went was, I was sweeping floors. They put me as a painter's help. I was masking vehicles, Scotch brighting panels, prepping panels and everything else like that.
That's promotion right there. Promotion.
Yeah, no, promotion. Yeah. And from there, I kind of went into being an R&I technician, fitting new panels and just taking things apart, getting them ready for getting body work done or getting primed, painted, whatever it was going to do. And then kind of in that phase, one day I noticed, I talked to Ryan about this a little bit before the podcast, but one day I noticed my boss, he was in the back of the shop behind the paint booth with a TDN hood stand with a hood on it, trying to push dents with a fluorescent light with a piece of electrical tape over the fluorescent light. Like it was like...
Your boss was?
Yeah, it was super jicky. And I was like, man, what are you doing, man? And I barely started, and I didn't know that he went and took a week of training at Dean King in Dallas. So he went over there and learned how to do PDR, and came back and was just, there's only so much you can learn in a week of not knowing anything about paintless dent repair, So he comes back and he's like halfway trying to learn how to fix dents because we don't really have a hell guy anymore. And from there, it jump started my curiosity for paintless dent repair. Hopped on YouTube, found Jim Mitchell with Real World PDR, found Christopher Ray with Dentless Touch, Mike Toledo with Dent Time. All those guys really, really pushed my curiosity and interest for paintless dent repair. But with paintless dent repair being so difficult and being such a learning curve, wasn't able to really jump into it immediately. So from there, I really pushed to start doing body work because I was moving metal with tools a little bit, and I would get it to a point and I was able to put Bondo and glaze on it and really smooth it out, prime it. And, I became a body guy in this body shop I was in. And in the meantime, after work, I bought a super cheap hood stand, dude. One of the X ones, that fold out like this.
Yeah. Like every body shop has 20 of those. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I hate those stands. They're the worst.
Yeah.
I have a Carbon Tech hood stand now, and it's like the best thing ever, man.
Yeah.
Those bars are in like the way of everything the whole time. It's
dude, so bad. Anyway,
There's
I bought
nothing sturdy about it.
Yeah,
no.
I bought one of those. I got just a junk hood from the body shop that I was working at. Took it home, and before and after work, I would wake up like an hour before work, and I'd be pushing dents. I had this hood stand in my room, and I'd bust it out after I get home from work, and I was just sitting there in my parents' house, just pushing dents in my room. After work, just what I would do is my boss, I guess whenever he was at Din King, they had a drill where they drew X's, like a bazillion X's on this hood, man. And I would have to push up each corner of the X, push in the center, and then knock down each X, and I did that all over. And did that 1,000 times, man. And then finally I started smacking the hood and like putting little dents in it, trying to just feel how it felt to actually push a hell dent. And using Jim Mitchell's program, Real World PDR, I was able to kind of get further insight of how he, creating a dent map was huge for me, kind of creating a game plan before you actually took the dent on was huge, because whenever it didn't go as planned, you at least had an avenue of how you were going to work the dent. And, just like I said, before and after work, I would practice, and then I got good enough to where my boss kind of started hiring me to do, PDR repairs in-house.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to work up to commission. He was paying me a certain amount of money to do like hell cars and everything else. It wasn't anywhere near, like, since I was barely learning, it wasn't anything near what you should be making. But I definitely do appreciate the reps that he was willing to give me. And then from there, I talked to Jim Mitchell about wanting to come in and do in-person training. And he said it was going to be, about $5,000 to come in and do in-person training. And I didn't have that type of money. So over the next year, I'd say from 2020 to 2021, I saved up $5,000 and was able to go to Lafayette, Indiana, and train with Jim for a week. And then from there, Jim Mitchell got me connected with a good guy down in Temple, Texas. His name's Sean Ferguson, owns Extreme Hell and Dent. He got in contact with Sean. Sean was needing a technician, and Sean was willing to take me on. So that's kind of how I got on my first hailstorm.
Damn. That's a good story. I think Ryan and I both over here just like nodding our heads. It's like,
I'm loving it, dude.
No, but the amount of how many people I've coached, I've done 150 podcasts, PDR coach, and this and everything. It's like there's just the world in general. Like, stop asking how you can build your business and just do stuff that you hear people doing. Like, literally put everything into it. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Like, you were working at a body shop all day. Before work and after work, you have a hood in your room.
I love
You're
that.
like sleeping next to it, like sleeping on it, like cradling it, like
it was in the way,
like,
dude.
It
was in the way. I was always.
It didn't fucking matter. It didn't matter though.
Yeah, with it being in the way, it was like, okay, let's get on it. If it's gonna be,
yeah.
let's fix some dents while we're working on it. So,
yeah. And then $5,000 at 19 years old, 20 years old. Making $7 an hour, maybe some commission here and there.
Well,
at this point,
that's
a lot of money.
Like $13 an hour is probably what I was.
Okay, sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
It's almost double, dude. That's almost.
It
double.
is almost double.
It is.
So
Yeah.
I mean, saving up $5,000's not a joke. Like there was Friday
That's
nights
what
you
I
didn't go
paid for
out.
my
There was
first
things
car.
there was things. Yeah, you and I feel old now, right? Like I feel old. Like I'm in my late 30s and I'm talking to this dude. Like I'm not that far away from potentially being your dad.
Yeah, I mean, you're not.
I'm getting
That's
wise though, so you don't focus on the negatives. Focus on positive. I'm getting wise.
You are.
But that's what it takes though. Like it's not a secret. It's not you look at me or Ryan Brewer, been doing this for 15, 20 years, or any of the other people you follow, Toledo, you mentioned Jim Mitchell, all these people. How do they do it? Like they busted their ass. They did it for a long period of time. They did stupid shit like have a crappy hood stand with a free hood in their bedroom to fix it. Like this is the kind of stuff that people did. Like I worked from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. for months and months on end, and Saturdays. Like you see someone's life now and you think they have it all figured out, but you forget that part of the 4, 5, 6, 7 years of the shit that you did that people are just flat out aren't willing to do, but they want to be successful. So I just want to point that stuff out.
Well, Isaac, I want to point this out. Isaac said it without really saying it. He had his boss, and I'm not dogging your boss by any means, but he did what 90% of people who try to get into the PDR industry, they tried to go to the Den King for a week. They came back to their shop and they farted around and he did that. And look what you did, right?
Yeah.
Do you talk? Do you ever have a conversation or ever had a conversation with your ex-boss? And has he asked you like, "Hey, man, how did you do this and I didn't?"
No, not really, man.
Because that takes way too much humility, dude. That's a tough question for people to ask, Ryan.
It is, but it's just like that's what 90% of people who try to get into our industry do, and then we have, I say, 50% of those guys wind up just hacking cars up for the rest of their career, and it's like to be a good technician, a good business owner, you really have to do what Isaac has done and what he's doing now. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, we really didn't have any conversations like that. Whenever I ended up leaving, I really left at kind of a bad time. And with that being said, it kind of, I don't want to say tarnished our relationship, but it definitely split us apart a little bit. And we really haven't had much communication since I left.
Gotcha.
But I mean, regardless of what he thinks of me, or what our relationship is or anything else like that, I really genuinely do appreciate him because he did a lot for me. With him,
well, you wouldn't be where you're at today without him, right?
No, without him, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I mean, with him being willing to give me a shot and just hire me, it's he's done more for me than I probably can ever do for him. So
there's always those key factors, and then your manager, I think you said his name was Roberto, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
there's always going to be those key players.
He was huge
in the game. It's never just solo, but you put yourself in those positions when you go out and hustle, when you knock on the doors, when you call people up and ask for jobs, and then show up to the job and not be a bad worker. Flat out. Like then you were the best. I bet you were the best floor sweeper the dude ever had, and he didn't want to make you be a prepper because then his floors were going to be hella dirty. And you probably did both actually. Probably.
I helped out. Out wherever I could, man. And that job was really good.
That's what it comes. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Though is like you went in, you busted your ass, you did a good job. You didn't just show up and sit on your phone like it seems like stereotypically is going to happen. Like it takes other people to give you opportunities, but you have to show up and make the best of those opportunities, even if it's $7.25 an hour opportunity.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, they were great guys, man. I was willing to do whatever I could to learn and whatever I could to just excel in the industry. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if I didn't have bigger plans at the time to one day own my own shop and one day do all these big things, I would probably still be there because they were genuinely good people, and I really enjoyed going and working at that body shop every day. So they're really good guys.
I love that you pointed that out, Ryan, because that's so true, dude. Like I didn't even think about that, but that's literally what almost everybody does. Is that they're just like, I'm going to learn this stuff, and then they're like, so I don't know if they think it's going to be easy or they have an expectation, and then the reality sets in, and they're so far apart that they can't reconcile that.
So what made you want to open up like brick and mortar shop? Because also, I mean, pointing that out, back in the day, people just wanted to learn the trade of paintless dent repair. It seemed like, was it the YouTube videos and like you diving into learning PDR and seeing the shops like Mike Toledo has and seeing what Jim Mitchell has? Were you like, I kind of want I want a brick and mortar location, like that's my goal, as you were learning paintless dent repair?
Yeah, that was kind of a idea. I always had the vision in my head to like be able to pull up to a shop and see my business name on the outside and like, be taking care of my customers and everything else like that. But whenever it really got set in stone was after my first hailstorm. The money's great and everything else like that, but my main focus is setting up a business model and setting up, the way I do business in general, in a way where I'm home every night. I have something where I don't have to go across the country to work if I don't have to. It's like just the stability was the main thing for me. Not having to count on the next hailstorm, having a brick and mortar shop where I always have work coming in and out of the shop. Retail customers are always needing a dent fix, no matter if it's hail, a door ding, or even a smashed fender. We're willing to take it all on. And after my first hailstorm, that vision really came to not fruition, but it really became the main goal for me, is to open up my own place and open up something that I could call mine, and I could wake up in the morning, drive to work, and come home at night and know that I'm not going to have to worry about where am I going next.
Right.
So stability.
I'm curious. Are you married?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah,
it's a catch right here. Like
right.
You sound very mature to me. I'm 20. I remember myself at 22.
You have a girlfriend though, right?
I do. I have a girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you better let her
look at her. Is she there?
No, she's not. I'm in my shop right now.
I just saw you look at somebody. I was curious.
No, I'm just looking around. Yeah, no, I'm in my shop.
So that's cool. I mean, I think there's how many guys, Ryan? You know more than I do, Ryan, about guys who tasted hail money in their early 20s and never stopped chasing it.
Everybody I know that's ever tasted it never. Like, how can you taste? How can you taste something so good and never do it again?
But Izac, there's a difference, because the being at home every night and stability.
He's lucky because he's in a location that gets hail at least every year. Yeah. You're gonna get hail, maybe not a massive hailstorm, but you're gonna get it, and it's a great location. I think he's got the best of both worlds. Where he set roots at.
Yeah.
So really, the question is like getting to it. Is when did you realize? Because this is like all happening so fast, right? When did you realize throughout this your time in the business that, hey, I'm in paintless dent repair, I need to add another service? How did you find RestorFX, and why did you choose that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because so whenever I first found RestorFX, it was Corey. He was promoting it. I don't really know if it was in a forum, I just saw the name RestorFX, but I started to kind of look at it. I found one YouTube video online of like somebody getting it done to their vehicle, and I was just like, and then I asked Corey, the main question I asked him, I think it was back in like late 2021. I asked him, I was like, hey man, do you need a shop to apply RestorFX? And he was like, yes, you definitely need a shop. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have a shop, And so over the next year or so, I knew that was something I wanted to do. RestorFX I saw as something that kind of hit, I guess you could say, the detail industry from a different angle. And it was something that kind of would separate me from everybody else, because I wanted to add services, but I didn't want to be another detail guy. I didn't want to be another tent guy. I didn't want to be another PPF guy, ceramic coat, because I felt like that market is so overpopulated. I was going to just kind of be resetting what I've already done, with having to go in and like explain that I'm the youngest guy here, but I can ceramic coat better than anybody out there. And it's like,
right.
You're getting into stuff like that, man. it's like it's all
That's fun.
ceramic coatings, you know, detailing and everything else like that. I'm not knocking it by any means. I'm not knocking it, but it's almost like how well you can present your business, and you know how well you can let that customer know that we are the spot to take care of you. Whether that's you know, your online presence, whether that's your shop presence, where like you have a really good office space that's real nice. You know, you have in-house detail products that you sell, everything else like that. If you don't really have that, you know, you're not going to really be a top dog in the industry until you can get to that point, you know. And I saw RestorFX as something where I can come in, I can bring this new product to the market that nobody else has brought, and you know, I can kind of just see what happens. You know, it was something that I wanted to do, and the main thing was just I needed a shop, so I kind of put everything on the back burner for 2021. And then in 2022, Jackson, Mississippi got hit with a really good hailstorm. And my good buddy, William Durr, with Durr's Dents and Dings, asked me if I'd be willing to come over there and work with him, because I met him at the Anson open house the year prior whenever I was working my first hailstorm, because my good buddy, Justin Chamberlain, said I needed to be there. There was going to be dent techs on dent techs. And if you wanted to get into the industry and grow your network and grow the amount of people that you know in the industry, you need to be at Anson open house. So I was like, all right, I'll go. And from there, I met a lot of good people over there, and William Durr being one of them. And I was fortunate enough to go over there to Mississippi and, again, make really good hail money. Came back home because my hometown, Loveland, 30 minutes west of where I'm at right now, got hit with hail. And my phone was starting to blow up with people that kind of knew that I did PDR. And whenever I got back home, I started renting a shop out of like, there's these, you know, they have like the district of shops, you know, where you can, like, you get unit number 311 and you can go in there, you know. We were in suite number 87, and it was the shop was a little more than 1,000 square feet, and I just started moving vehicles in and out, you know,
just three cars, maybe.
Yeah, just getting them in and out.
Corey knows about that.
I know 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, man, I didn't have any idea of how I was supposed to deal with insurance companies. You know, I didn't know who was I supposed to call to get parts. I don't have a clue, man. I don't have any idea. I just knew that I needed to go home, and in order for me to achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve, these were the steps that needed to be took, you know. So, and then after that hail season kind of slowed down, I really had capital to be able to invest in myself, and that's whenever I bought the license for RestorFX Lubbock, and you know, it's been rolling ever since, you know. So
yeah, dude, I talked to him the other day, Ryan, or a message. Yeah, we were talking on the phone. He's like 3-4 cars a day too.
Yeah.
RestorFX.
You started out at 1,000 square foot. Are you still at 1,000 square foot, or did you get more?
Yeah, you changed from the suite situation.
Yeah, no, we got a bigger shop now. We have a shop that's a little over 4,000 square feet, and we have three bay doors now. So we're able to get vehicles in and out, and it's very good. So
Corey, you know, this dude's moving. This dude's moving faster than you.
So much faster, crushing
wow.
me, dude. No doubt about it.
It's so wild.
That's killer. You lease the place? Is standalone building, or you own it, or what?
No. So it's kind of in the same setup as the other one. It's just it's kind of in the same type deal, but it's in a better location. It's more in, like, we were way out of town, man. To get to us, it was like,
I remember you telling me that, actually 30 minutes or something, right?
Yeah, it was way out. I mean, it was a 30-minute commute to get to dealerships to get vehicles back.
Up a RestorFX car.
Dude, we were losing an hour. Every which way you turned, if we were gonna pick up a vehicle, we had to invest an hour to get the vehicle, you know. And it was just money.
Tough,
it's money just leaving, and it was very tough. So we were fortunate enough to pick up this shop that's right off of the main access road that splits Lubbock in half, and there's no stoplights or anything off this road. So we hit every dealership in, I think we'll drive for 10 minutes maybe, and we're at every dealership in Lubbock. So it's really helped getting vehicles to and from the shop. It's been great.
Killer, dude. That's killer. And you have people working for you? I know at least one.
Yeah. So whenever I originally started RestorFX, I hired a good buddy of mine. We played football together in high school, and we were real good buddies growing up. And I knew that he kind of needed an avenue, just guidance in life in general. And I needed somebody that was willing to trust me in the beginning stages of this endeavor. And I told him, his name's Mason. He's a great guy, man. He's a really good guy. I told him, Mason, I was like, man, I need somebody that's going to be the lead technician for this service that I'm bringing to Lubbock. And I couldn't think of a better guy than you to bring on. And he was like, hey, man, he didn't ask how much he's getting paid, how much anything.
Oh,
he's just like, he's like, let's do it, man. So I told him, I was like, man, you don't got to pay for anything. I'm going to pay for your training. I'm going to pay for hotels, meals. It don't matter. Just come with me to Bellingham, Washington. Learn how to, halfway apply this product. Come back to Lubbock with me, and I promise we're going to make this work. And he's been with me for a year now, and he's absolutely crushing it. With him crushing it so well, we've been fortunate enough to hire another employee. His name's Caleb. He kind of helps us more on the logistics side of things, kind of helped us really figure out how we're going to be estimating these vehicles for RestorFX, and how we're really going to be able to legitimize these prices that we give these customers. So as opposed to just blabbing out a number, yeah, we can do it for $850. We have a really refined system of how we came up with that pricing. Well, kind of like how Mobile Tech RX, we have a 3-inch dent, okay, it's a medium depth. Okay, it's on a body line, everything else. We've taken a new avenue to be able to price these RestorFX vehicles out in a way that it looks more legit to the customer. They're not just getting a price, and it's like they know exactly why we price their vehicle accordingly. And Caleb has been great. I mean, he graduated from Texas A&M, and he's fresh out of college, so he still has that behind the computer, getting stuff knocked out on like Google Excel and everything else like that. All those formats and everything else that I'm not too familiar with, he can crush it, man. He is all the way legit with it. So so yeah, we have Mason and Caleb and myself, and it's just the three of us for right now. We're actually planning on hiring somebody in the next month or so, because we kind of need it. So
yeah.
So I got some advice for you, right? This is some Paul Corden advice that he kind of hit me with. He kind of hit me the other day with. And one reason why Paul Corden's so successful in communicating with people is because he's consistent, right? Mm-hmm. So you teach your guys consistency, and you were just saying that whenever you're trying to sell a product or sell a service, it has to be repetition. It has to be the same thing every single time. Mm-hmm. You could talk to Paul about his matrix, his okay, what he's selling, right? And he's like Siri, right? He's everything he says. It's like he's said it 100 million times, and it comes out the same way every single time,
right?
To where people just understand it, and you're not just like, oh, like shooting from the hip, right? Mm-hmm. People really understand stuff that way, and it's I think it's an easier way to train. I'm actually starting to train my manager that way, to just be consistent with, and this is for everybody, right? Consistency is key whenever you're selling something, and you have to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. No, I'd love to talk to y'all more about that. Kind of aside from the podcast, and see, pick y'all's brain about what y'all actually think about consistency and everything else like that. That'd be great.
So how you been handling Hail and RestorFX with three guys? Something's got to give, I suppose.
Yeah, RestorFX has kind of taken the biggest blow because of this hail damage.
Can't beat the hail money.
You can't, man. I mean, you got to capitalize on it. So yeah. My focus has, over the past, I'd say 2 months, have really been focused on hail. And with that being said, we've really declined in RestorFX. I mean, we're still at a vehicle a day, and then sometimes we'll get 2 vehicles, but it's really declined because I haven't been able to be there. And my guys are great, but whenever I'm talking to managers and everything else like that, and we're able to go do demos for more dealerships and everything else like that, it really fuels the fire, to make sure that everything's running the way it needs to run. So I've really kind of been out of the picture for RestorFX, but it's not a bad thing at all. The fact that I've been out of RestorFX for the past 2 months, and my guys, Caleb and Mason, have been able to still make us money, with me not even being in the picture, and these guys haven't even been doing it for a year. I mean, it goes to show that not only is RestorFX an easy business model to really excel in, because I mean, we're not anything special. We're not business gurus. We're not the baddest. Yeah, we're not the baddest dudes on the planet. We're just trying to make it work. And the fact that Caleb's been with us for about I'd say for about 2 to 3 months now, and Mason's been with us for coming up on a year, and these guys have still been able to at least have a vehicle in the shop every day. It speaks volumes on the product itself, because I mean, dealerships love it, and we've been rolling with the marketing, digital marketing program, and that's really helped on the retail side of things. So we're kind of seeing more retail vehicles in the shop now, and I've kind of just been completely out of it. So I'm excited to get back into it though, man. Like I said, we're looking to hire another guy for the RestorFX side of things. That way we can kind of bump up that volume again, because I'm not mad about it or anything else, but we can definitely be better. I always like to be better than what we were, and we're gonna continue.
That's the hardest part. Is that that's the hardest part, is replicating yourself. That's like what Brian's saying too. Is that and the same thing for me with RestorFX. Like when I'm actively pursuing RestorFX, we're way busier. Mm-hmm. But how do I get? I don't know if it's doable. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's hard. It's a hard thing to teach. I don't know if it's because we're the business owners that we care just that little bit extra and get those cars. We know or what it is, why that's hard to transfer that. Because I'm not some sales guru either, but I get way more cars than my other guys. Yeah. I don't know how I do it, but I do it, Yeah. So transferring that over, that's the difficult part. I know, Ryan, you've had, some struggles getting that same amount of volume when you're doing it every day. When you leave for hail, you come back and you're like, this is a little bit off.
So I fixed that problem, and we could talk more about that after the podcast, because it's a little bit, but it was the thing that changed my entire. But it's the reason why I'm here. I'm able to chase hail because it's something I like to do. I'm not in Pennsylvania right now because I have to be, right. I'm here because I want to be. So it's
you're
good.
enjoying the 68-degree weather, man.
That's why I'm in Louisiana. It's super hot, so I'm over here and it's 60. It dropped down another 4 or 5 degrees. It's probably 65 right now with breeze.
Yeah, you're enjoying it,
awesome.
Man.
So my question for you, talking about that a little bit also, is what's your next goals as far as, are you gonna ramp up RestorFX? Are you gonna add more services? What does your future look like? Because I feel like I'm gonna hear about it in 6 months that you're, in a 14,000 square foot building, and you're just fucking killing it,
Yeah, I've always kind of I like to run my business off of the idea of you don't want to build multiple bridges before one's fully built, because I mean you're gonna end up having multiple bridges that are halfway built and then they're not usable, So with us really focusing on RestorFX, in RestorFX, I've found a business model that is really scalable, something that I could bring a new guy in, teach him how to do it in 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe, and he's processing vehicles. And the fact that it's a scalable business, and I see that it's something that in time I can have fully running without me even touching it. That's the main thing for me. Earlier in the podcast, I kind of touched on the big thing for me is stability, and making sure that what I do is going to be there and it's going to last. RestorFX is going to last. And so with that being said, I think my main goal right now is to get RestorFX Lubbock up and running, and then go to somewhere else and open up another RestorFX. And
awesome.
and we'll see what happens there, man. And then who knows, man? Who knows what happens? I don't know. I don't know what's gonna
I
happen.
like it. I like it. I love it.
Any plans for more PDR techs?
Not right now.
This guy's smart, dude. He's like you have the skill of PDR, you make the income, and then you build the RestorFX business, which I think is why pretty much why every dent guy I know has started a RestorFX.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I said that backwards. All the dent guys that I do know that have started RestorFX have done it for that reason. Is the scalability of it. They all want to grow bigger businesses, and scaling with PDR is, I don't want to say impossible because I don't think anything is, but show me someone who's done it over 2-3 techs. Really.
Yeah, no, it's tough, man, and especially
there's a couple
with
dent smart dent wizard, but
especially with me being so young. I mean, I'm only 22. If I wanted to try and find a guy to come in and do the PDR work for me, I either got to find a guy that's going to be older than me by several years, and he has to be willing to come in and listen to me and do things the way I want them done, or I got to find a guy that's younger than me. And if I find a guy that's younger than me, that's able,
you don't trust young people,
man. If I find a guy that's younger than me, he's gonna and he turns out to be a good PDR technician, I would feel bad. I would see myself in him. He needs to go out and do his own thing.
Right. You want to see yourself. That's like perfect what you just said. You want to see somebody come into your shop and say, dude, I love what you guys got going on. I want to be part of it, whether it's on the RestorFX side or it's as a dent technician. And I will be willing to come here and sweep the floors for minimum wage. Minimum wage is not $7 an hour anymore, but
yeah, it's not.
Right. We can, I've never had that though. I've never had somebody come into my business and say, I'll do whatever it takes to be a paintless dent repair technician or a lead technician in RestorFX. Yeah. And it's crazy because I had some porters that worked for me that were really young in their early 20s, probably maybe a little older than you, right?
Yeah.
So I said, one of my porters one day, I said, look, man, do you want to learn how to do paintless dent repair? And this kid looked at me and said, no, man, I think I'm good where I'm at. I like porting cars. And I looked at him and I said, do you know what I would have done for somebody at your age to ask me that question?
Yeah.
I would have killed somebody to do that, right?
Yeah.
And this kid, he didn't even blink an eye. He just said, hey, man, I'm cool where I'm at. And it just blew my mind because I don't think younger generations understand, even as an employee, what they can make. Whether it's on the dent side or the RestorFX side, so if we have people listening out there that even aren't in the industry, think about stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Be willing to be willing to do whatever is necessary to achieve what you want to achieve.
Right.
I mean, the world is tough. It's full of trials and errors and situations that you're gonna go through, man. It's not all sunshine and rainbows in the beginning. You're going to have to really cut your teeth if you want to become something that you want to become, and doing just that, doing whatever you got to do to become the thing that you want to do, and taking action and doing those things. That's really the only way it's going to be done. It's not going to land in your lap, So
100%, dude.
Anyway,
I didn't do on that.
That was
awesome. Story,
dude.
That's a great story. Great example. I don't know what else to say, dude. Like if you look at your own life, take a snapshot of your own life, maybe compare it to Izac. He reminds me a lot of Ryan Campbell, actually. Ryan reminds me of Ryan Campbell. Just the busting his ass to make it and going quick too, like within a 5-year span of being a big, where most guys have spent decades to get to. Which is awesome, and a testament again to the people sharing in the industry that make it possible too, right? All the people sharing. But yeah, take a look at your own life, and if you want to be more successful, then do what it takes, and you can see what it takes.
Perfectly said. Yeah. All right.
That's it. Catch on. Thank you, Izac. I appreciate it. Keep crushing it.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't wait. We'll touch base with you in like 2 weeks and find out what's changed in 2 weeks. I'm sure it's gonna be
all hell right now.
Yeah, it's all hell right now, and it's gonna be all hell for a little bit right now. So fortunately enough, but
nice.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having me on. It was a great time. I really enjoyed talking to you guys.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Isaac.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Masters of Recon podcast. Today on the podcast, we have Izac Anthony out of Lubbock, Texas. He has been fixing cars all the way back since 2019 in the body shop world. And then 2020 enters in the PDR, and then 2022 moves into RestorFX. So he's not a patient guy. Welcome to the show, Izac.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. It's a huge honor, man. I love y'all's podcast. I love what y'all do, and I'm excited to be here. So excited to see the conversations that we have.
Yeah, fantastic. I don't know how we met. I think you called me for opening up a RestorFX center. I think is the first time we talked. Is that right?
Well, the first time we ever talked was I was trying to get advice on how to walk into a dealership and talk to managers, man. Everywhere I went, I get kind of shoved out the door, you know, and like
For dents or for restore?
For dents. I was
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, Lubbock's kind of a hell prominent area, or it has been over the past couple years. So I didn't know this when getting into PDR, but whenever I got into PDR and I kind of got off my first hailstorm and came back home, started looking around, there's pretty much a PDR shop everywhere you look.